I want to say welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Tony Hollis Live Talk Show Testify. We into season 4 now. Just want to give you a quick little preview of what we're going to be talking about, and I will be coming right back to you. So let me show you my preview right now. I'd like to say hello, ladies and gentlemen. Join me today. We will be kicking off season 4, Tony Hollis Live Talk Show Testify. I will have guests, attorneys, Mr. Danny Williams and Mrs. Veronica Swanigan. Those two attorneys I will have on today, as well as I will have a mom of a young man on speaking on the unfair violation of his parole. We will be talking about those two topics, so please join me today. Peace and love. All right, we're back. Just want to say we have, I want to give out one quick announcement. We have a more like a walkathon exercise. ANC is giving that. I think that's to take place this coming week. Please register for that exercise walk. I think it'll do us all some good. I do plan on participating myself. And also, I want to say that we're going to be also picking back up on the bus driver situation, speaking about what's going on with our local Blythe school system. And there's a few other announcements that I have, but I've been running so and my brain is fried, and so I'm probably going to have to get back with you on that later. But again, today we're going to have a topic that we will be talking about. We're going to be talking about some speedy trial motion is what it's called. Many of you know that we have had situations here in Mississippi County to where there have been a vast number of people who was arrested, sitting in jail a year or more and have not been brought to trial. And also, I'm going to show you one other recent case that was heard by the Arkansas Supreme Court of an incident that occurred over in, I believe, West Memphis, Arkansas. Young man had his case overturned by the Arkansas Supreme Court. He was found guilty for the murder of a West Memphis police officer who was off duty at the time. And so, and as well as I want to bring on a mom of a young man. He spent some time in prison, got out, picked himself up, became gainfully employed, doing all the things that he needed to do as it relates to the conditions of his parole, have not been in any trouble. But for some reason or another, instead of awarding this young man for his redemption, somehow or another, he was unfairly his parole, he was unfairly violated, what I'm trying to say. And so we're going to be talking about that. His mom want to speak to you all on his behalf. So without any further ado, I'm going to bring on my panel and I'm going to let them introduce themselves. I have some attorneys that will be speaking to you all. And so we ask the audience to hold your questions until we hear from the attorneys. And Afterwards, if they choose to answer any questions that you may have, then they can do so at that time. Okay. So I'm going to bring on my first panel and let them introduce themselves, tell a little bit about what type of law that they practice in, and uh, and then we'll roll into the into the show, get it on the road. All right. So I'm going to start as they logged in. This young man here, I call him young man. He's younger than me. Uh, we have Mr. Danny Williams. He's an attorney out of Little Rock, and we're going to let him go ahead and share a little bit about, just give a little snapshot and introduction of yourself, what type of law you practice, and we'll just move along.
Good evening. Hey, my name is Danny Williams. I'm in Little Rock. I've been practicing since about 1993, so
Uh-huh.
about 30 years. And principally, I do a lot of criminal defense. I do family law, some civil case, a little bit of everything, and in federal court.
Mhm.
And I practice statewide, all over the state of Arkansas.
As I understand, you have some roots in Osceola, Arkansas, right?
Class of 1984.
All right. All
Proud,
right. Got
very
family
proud.
there. Yeah. All right. Okay. I appreciate you for that snapshot intro. And next, we're going to move to our next attorney, Mrs. Veronica Swanigan. I hope I pronounced your name correctly. We'll let her go ahead and give us a snapshot of her intro, if you will, Mrs. Attorney Swanigan.
Good afternoon. My name is Attorney
Good
Verona
afternoon.
Swanigan, and I have been practicing law for almost 20 years now. I'm licensed to practice law in 6 different states. I primarily do criminal, civil defense, and plaintiff's work. A lot of car accidents and personal injury, in addition to the criminal work that I do. I started off doing solely criminal work. Prior to becoming an attorney, I also did probation and parole, and I was a social worker. So I also have a master's degree in forensic psychology.
Well, all right. Thank you for that extensive resume. And now that we got our panel who don't introduce themselves, before we get into the QA, I want to start this show off by setting the stage of this show. Um, we're going to be talking about the pros and cons of a speedy trial, and I just want to show a little video clip just real quickly for the audience where they can pretty much see exactly what we're talking about as it relates to the motion to a speedy trial. Okay, let me go up here and find that video right now. Give me just 1 minute. Okay. Look like we're having some technical problems there on that video. But anyway, we're going to go ahead and get started anyway. Um, see, do I have everybody? Again, we're going to go ahead and get started. So first of all, let me start with um, Mr. Attorney Danny Williams. You can't hear me, correct?
I can, brother.
Okay, let me start with you. Y'all excuse my speaker system. I'm still playing around with it, trying to fine tune it. And so excuse me if it's a little too loud for you. Uh, as you saw, that was the case of, let me look, the Marcus Darnell Parker versus the state of Arkansas. That young man was convicted, I believe, in 2018, killing a West Memphis police officer um, while the officer was off duty. He had a trial in 2018 and he was convicted. I think he got something like 2 life sentences. Of course, that case was somewhat overturned by the Arkansas Supreme Court. Um, so I guess we'll start off speaking about the cons, pros and cons. So how can something like this happen? Did the pandemic have something to do with it? Do we have a prosecutor who is not up to par on terms of keeping up with what is considered a speedy trial schedule? Is there a speedy trial schedule? Do a law firm have such a calendar?
Yes, sir. Speedy trial is a very important rule. It's a bright line rule. It's kind of set in stone. The state has 365 days to bring a person to trial from the date they're arrested. If they don't do that, it's an absolute bar to re-prosecution. So Mr. Parker's case, it not only got reversed, it got dismissed. They just can't go after him anymore.
Okay.
Free man had 2 life sentences plus 846 years.
Oh Lord.
Now that does not sit well with a lot of people, but the rule is that way for a reason. It's there to protect the innocent and the guilty.
Well, okay then. We're going to come back. I need the extra something else. We're going to piggyback off that, but I want Attorney Swanigan also to weigh in on that in terms of exactly how could this happen, Attorney Swanigan. I heard Mr. Williams, Attorney Williams, pretty much gave the procedure that is, if a case is not brought in 365 days, they just have to dismiss it. So what is your experiences with cases like that, or could you please go ahead and opine with this particular case?
Well, it happens actually more often than people realize. And it happens for multiple reasons. Sometimes it's errors at the police department. Sometimes it gets as far as errors in the prosecuting attorney's office. Sometimes it's due to the courthouse itself. So there's multiple reasons it happens. I'm dealing with a case right now where it started off as a problem with the police department because, as we stated, it's based on when the person was arrested. So let's say, for example, police department arrests somebody. They don't follow all the procedures that they should have done at the time of arrest. Things slip through the cracks. Case doesn't get filed on time. Case finally does get filed. And then at that point, people aren't paying attention to, okay, we have to serve this warrant to get this person brought into court. I've seen that happen all across the country. Honestly, I've won cases everywhere from California to here in Arkansas in regards to that specific issue. Now, other times it is courtroom congestion, but there are things that they call excludable time that allow for the time to be more than 365 days. Now, sometimes that is created by the defense. And when the defense creates that pause in the time, it does not count towards the speedy trial. which is where we call that word tolling time.
Oh, yes,
However,
we're going to talk about that.
yeah, however, if it's the prosecution that causes the time to extend, then the time counts towards the 365 days. And honestly, I've seen that be everything from they couldn't find a witness to um, things like DNA hasn't come back or drug testing hasn't come back. There's been multiple reasons it's happened. Sometimes it is just they left the case sitting on their desk and didn't do anything with it.
Mhm. But all right, I know we actually here in Mississippi County, we have had, I know probably two cases that I know that was dismissed uh, as a result of the 365 days expired. I think in one of those particular cases, just like Wes Smith is, um, the person was being tried for murder. And based on the rule, the family, that's pretty painful, knowing that you lost a loved one and you get to see them walk out of the courtroom, just free as a bird. And
Mhm.
so, and I thank you all for giving us a open shot. What I didn't do, I want to go ahead and put this on the screen right quick, just to let everybody follow. Hope my eyes can read that. But uh, this is the Sixth Amendment of the Constitution that addresses, the speedy trial. It said, in all criminal prosecution, the accused shall enjoy the right to a speedy trial, a speedy and public trial, by an impartial jury of the state and district wherein the crime shall have been committed, shall have been previously ascertained by law, and to be informed of the nature and causes of accusation, to be confronted with the witnesses against him, to have compulsory process for obtaining witnesses in favor, and to have assistance of counsel for his defense. I guess, would you all agree that's what I just read was at the Sixth Amendment, correct,
Absolutely.
of the
Yes.
Constitution? Okay, but let's talk about that on the um, Attorney Swanigan mentioned it. Uh, what's the word? Trolling,
Tolling. Tolling.
tolling. Um Mr. Williams, Attorney Williams, what have been your experiences? I mean, I know we in a pandemic. Have you had any cases or know of any cases to where this has been a problem in a district that you practice law in?
I've been waiting. I've been
Pardon me?
waiting. I've been waiting since the pandemic became a reality for everybody. I've been waiting for the day when we have to deal with the cases that get passed off.
Mhm.
So just like everything in 1 year is now 3 years. People almost forget those 2 years that passed because every aspect, everybody's life kind of got passed over at that time. But like I said, the speedy trial rule is a bright line rule, and there are specific procedures that have to be followed by the prosecutor, by the judge, and by the attorneys.
Mhm.
And if those aren't followed, regardless of whether there's the big thing about the speedy trial rule is there has to be proof that a person knows that that rule exists and that that person knows they've got a right to go to trial and they have to voluntarily waive that right.
Mhm.
In Arkansas, you cannot waive a right that you do not know that you have. So in a lot of cases during the pandemic, because of the backlog and because people were not appearing in person, everybody just assumed that this is in the best interest of everybody to continue these trials because everybody came together. It would create a health crisis.
Mhm.
But Zoom has always been available. There's been other ways that people could go to trial.
Mhm.
So if a judge does not write down and does not record and make sure that an individual defendant knows exactly what right he's given up and for how long he's given that right up for.
Uh-huh.
That does not count against the trial. That was a problem in the Parker case. That case was continued to a date uncertain.
Mhm.
So there was no way that the court or anybody can go back and look and say this man agreed to wait time for that much period. So that is probably fertile ground for dismissal of cases that you're going to have a long time because of pandemic.
Okay, now that we done talked about uh, you know, the Kong side of this particular speedy trial motion, uh, but the speedy trial can also be a good thing, as we know, especially when a person who has been sitting in jail, who perhaps may be innocent, but you know they just don't forget about them, you know, stuck back there somewhere or what have you. Uh, Attorney Swanigan, if a person who has been sitting for that long, uh, what is his or her rights in terms of starting the process? I mean, how would a person who's sitting in jail, not knowing the law, you know, just green behind the ears, uh, what should they do? Or is
So
it anything that they can do?
I'm not sure if you can see me right now. Okay. Um, the first and foremost thing that has to be done is you have to assert the right. You have to bring the right up before the court. You have to file a motion to dismiss, citing the speedy trial issue. If you don't do that, if you don't assert the right, it becomes problematic. And when you do assert the right, it does stop the time. And they read the time from the date of your arrest to the time that you filed the motion. Now, something I have to say, because I am licensed in other states and I know people tend to travel nowadays, is that speedy trial rights are not the same in every state. Some states do not grant you speedy trial rights unless you're in custody. Other states grant it to you no matter where you are. If you're in custody, you're out of custody, just so you know that. So in case you get arrested somewhere else, don't assume that what we said today applies. You have to find out what it is for that state. But that being said, you do, no matter where you are, have to bring up the topic. Courts are not going to voluntarily bring up the topic typically, and the prosecution definitely is not going to bring it up. So if your attorney is sitting there and he hasn't brought it up, you need to tap him on the shoulder and remind him the 365 days since your arrest has passed.
Mhm. And that's what we really need to bring clarity to. The First of all, as you stated, you know, he or she must in some way give some indication to the court that they want a trial date and they want one quickly.
Correct.
And the second part of that, when we start talking about speedy trials, it's different in every state, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Now, uh, if there is a case to where a person just no one is listening to him or her, what could a family member do? Because they have ran into situations to where, because they're 18 or older, they won't speak to a family member. So how should a family member, should they obtain an attorney, such
Family
as yourself?
members should definitely reach out to the counsel that the person has. If that counsel is not responsive, is not filing motions as you see fit, then you are always free to hire another attorney and have your loved one fire the attorney that they currently have. Now, first and foremost, so I think the first thing you really need to do is to reach out to your loved one and make sure that they know what their rights are, and for them to speak directly to counsel. Because the other issue is, and a lot of attorneys won't talk to family members, because you do have to deal with the right to privacy.
Mhm.
So your best bet, your most reliable bet, is to talk to your family member, make sure that they're strong enough, wise enough, and know what they need to say when they're talking to counsel, as well as when they're before the court. I mean, I don't like when my clients shout things out, but if you have an attorney that's sitting there not saying what you need them to say, that may be the time that they need to say something and speak on their own behalf.
Oh, good advice. Good advice. Attorney Williams, you care to piggyback on that?
Only thing I will add is you often have situations where people are incarcerated in Arkansas Department of Correction for an unrelated crime. They're already in the penitentiary. If they have another felony, the state has to bring them to trial absolutely within 1 year. So people in that situation can file what's called a notice of detainer. You send the prosecuting attorney's office in the jurisdiction where you have the new charge saying, this is where I am. And that's all you have to do.
Mhm.
Okay.
That's your
Yeah.
Well, let me ask you this here. Just one quick question, follow up. On the speedy trial, is there, I read just the other day, 12 months, is that referring to a person who's not incarcerated opposed to one who is incarcerated? I read something about 9 months. And so I mean, do you have any, can you elaborate on that for me? Either of you, Miss Attorney Swanigan or you, Attorney Williams?
okay. Well, the 9 months applies if you are in jail. The state has 9 months.
Incarcerated, correct?
Incarcerated, they've got 9 months to bring it to. They have not. You got a right to get out on bail.
Mhm. Okay.
Actually, on your own record, not on bail. And
Okay. In other words, sign yourself out.
charges. I'll let her dismiss. You can get jail, but they don't dismiss the charges.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I think that same issue, though, also will present itself of, did you cause the delay in the 9 months, or was it the prosecution that caused the delay? So I think a lot of times I've had clients bring those rules up to me, and then I'll go back and look and find out that, well, your attorney, unfortunately, asked for more time to get prepared. Now, I will also say, just as a side note, is that there is that issue sometimes that clients need more time to get prepared for their defense. And other things that cause a delay in preparation can be if your attorney meets with you and they think that there is some kind of cognitive or mental health issue or defense that you were impaired at the time of the crime, and I mean mentally impaired, getting that evaluation done, that examination done, bringing in the right experts, all of that is time. And that time won't count towards the 365 days.
So in other words, one really need to speak with his or her attorney, and they need to really know for a fact that they are ready and prepared for court. Because that could also, just like it backfire on the prosecutor, I imagine it can backfire on the defense as well, correct?
Yes,
Correct.
definitely.
Okay.
One thing, as far as excludable periods, any time defendant is not available for trial, and fail to appear,
Uh-huh.
or they're looking for him, any
I'm messing up. Go ahead. I hear you.
against you, automatically count against you.
All right. You all have gave us just this little short timeline, have given us a really good eye opener of, what is a motion to a speedy trial? What is it? How does it work? What can one do in terms of their rights or whatever? And at this time, I want to extend the floor to both of you, to go ahead and speak to the audience. If in fact there are some viewers who may be looking on now that might need your services, and so I'd like for you all to go ahead and just speak to the audience and just share with us whatever you would like to share with us before we go ahead and conclude. Miss Swanigan, Attorney Swanigan.
If you are seeking counsel, if you need any type of assistance, you can give my office a call. You can reach us at 866-603-4645. 5239.
Okay,
One
you
thing,
want to repeat that again?
yes, 866-603-5239. My
Okay.
website is www.callthelawlady.com. That's callthelawlady.com.
Mm-hmm.
Now, our email is the same thing, callthelawlady@outlook.com. We always are taking on new cases. As in addition, if you call me and it's a area of law that I don't practice, I will always refer you to someone who I think is qualified in the area. We try to aim to be as open to our clients as possible, available to our clients as possible, and to make sure that you understand what's going on with your case.
Okay. And for those of you is looking, that's the number to Attorney Swanigan office. That's 866-603-5239. I meant to put that in bigger caps, but hopefully uh, everyone can see that. I'll come back later and I'll go ahead and and edit it. Uh, and so, is there anything else, Attorney Swanigan, you'd like to add to this topic?
No, just stay on top of everything. Make sure you're keeping track for yourself, how much time has passed. I try to make sure that my clients know to be as involved as possible with their own defense. So make sure that you're telling your client, your attorney, everything that you possibly can so that they're fully aware of what happened and what they can do to get your defense in the best light possible.
Well, all right then. Again, I appreciate you for coming on and taking time out of your busy schedule. I know you had indicated that you were with family on this Easter Sunday, and I thank you for uh, just accommodating me to speak on this important topic. And so I will say thank you, and thank you. And so uh, I'll let you go ahead and take about maybe 2 or 3 minutes and go ahead and give closing remarks.
Once again, if you need any further assistance in any area such as criminal, personal injury, estate planning, opening a new business, give us a call. We were more than happy to help you. We want to see the people in our community grow, prosper, and improve. That is my entire goal. That's the reason I became an attorney.
All
I
right.
look forward to talking to you. Have a good
All
day.
right. All right. And I just want to say one other thing before I let you go. Um, do you also have services in terms of helping one get their record expunged?
Yes, we have done that
Okay.
as well. And there's actually a clinic coming up soon. Unfortunately, my phone is what I'm talking into, but I'll pass the information on to you so you can pass it on to your viewers. But there is a clinic coming up soon for people to get their records expunged.
Will do. And Attorney Swanigan, I thank you. I thank you, and I'll let you get back to your family enjoying the remainder of this beautiful Easter Sunday.
Thank you. Happy Easter to all.
All right. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
And Mr. Williams, we'll come to you and we'll go ahead and let you go ahead and give us your closeout in terms of how the viewers can make contact with you, that it be any other type of services. I'm pretty sure you do the expungement of records as well, right?
I do some
So
expungement.
let me go ahead and extend that same time to you, speaking to my viewers of, whether it's speaking, giving closing remarks on the topic, motion to a speedy trial, or, how you can help those that are in need right now for legal advice or representation.
Like I said, I'm from Osceola, graduated class of '84. I feel like I know everybody, but I can be reached always at 501-413-5714. Website is dwilliamslaw.pi@gmail.com. I do mostly criminal defense in state and federal court. I am licensed in 13 state federal court. In the state of Arkansas, go all over the state of Arkansas. In addition, I've done medical malpractice law for about 14 years. Always available. You can call me anytime.
Okay, and do you have a telephone number I can put up here on the screen?
501
501
413
413
Yes, sir. 5714.
5714 what?
4.
14.
Yes,
Let me
sir.
see that I do yours correctly now. I didn't. Uh, okay, I think we got it up there.
That's
That's
right.
your. Is that correct? 501 513 5714.
It
I
is
mean
listed.
413 5714. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay, to my viewers, that is the contact number for Attorney Williams, and so please do make contact with him. I didn't mean to interject. Go ahead and I turn it back over to you, Attorney Williams.
That's about all I have to say. I want to say happy Resurrection Day to everybody. It's very important. And only second to family.
Well, all right. Well, I'm glad to have you. Again, let's stay in touch, and hopefully, if I know of anyone that have any type of uh, legal issues, is your profession services that you carry out, then we have your number.
It's always good speaking to you, brother.
Same here. Peace
All
and
right.
love, brother. All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, those was my guests. Both were from the Little Rock area, and they do have their own practices there uh, in their respective law firms. And so, if you need to make contact with either one of them, please do make contact with them. Okay, and I will come back later on, and I will put Mrs. Uh, Attorney Swanigan. I will put her. As a matter of fact, I do that now. Before I go to my next guest, let me go ahead and put her information up there right now. I think it was 866 dash 603 dash 5239. And so, and this is a number for Attorney Veronica Swanigan. That's her number, 866 603 5239. Okay. So that take care of that. Now, again, we're going to go ahead and close this show out. I did have uh, another topic that I wanted to talk about. It's a mom from Osceola, Arkansas. Her son uh, was unfairly uh, arrested for a parole violation. And we're going to let her speak to you and where she can explain exactly uh, uh, where things are at with him right now in terms of his arrest for parole violation and what is being done now. And so we're going to go ahead and bring her on uh, right now and let her go ahead and speak uh, to you. All right. So without any further ado, I want to go ahead and bring on my next guest, Mrs. Is that Danielle
Danielle,
Gregory? How you doing, Miss Danielle Gregory?
I'm fine.
I'm sorry, we sort of went a little overboard there for the time. I appreciate you sitting, waiting with me, and I know you have another guest. Is that Jordan?
Jordan Bailey.
Uh, Jordan Bailey. Look like
Yes.
she got a dummy photo up there, so I guess you want to be in disguise there. You know. And so, but anyway, it's one thing that I want to apologize. I didn't get the opportunity to post the poems. Time was catching up on me, and I couldn't get all that. But I will allow you to go ahead and speak to it. Okay.
Mhm.
But let me. Is it okay if I put a picture up of your son?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. Let me just show a photo of him right quick, and we'll go from there. let me go up here and find him right now.
Got it.
Uh, da, 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 da. Let me find him right now. Okay, I think we have it. All right. Uh, this is the young man. Is it JT Yankeeway, correct?
Correct.
This is Mr. JT Yankeeway, you all. Uh, young man who did a little time in prison. Since he been out, he been applying himself to all the conditions of his parole. He has become a real responsible person in terms of he was gainfully employed. He have written some books also, according to his mom. And so we're gonna allow Mrs. Gregory to come on to go ahead and introduce herself and just give us a little snapshot of exactly uh, who she is and what relation she is. As I indicated, that's her son. But we'll go ahead and let her go ahead and share for you right now. Uh, what is her situation as it relates to her son. The floor is yours, Mrs. Gregory.
Hello, everyone. My name is Danielle Gregory, and I'm the mother of JT Yankaway. Everybody know him as Jada. Everybody know his situation. He was locked up at the age of 17. He did 15 years.
15 years?
Yes. He
Okay.
just was released September the 26th of 2022. He been on parole here for the last 6 months. He had been complaining about his parole, but it wasn't nothing major that you would think about. So he still was doing what he's doing. Like I said, he got a job. As soon as he got here, he's still working there. They trying to hold his job for him because he was a good worker. He wrote a book, Exercising My Thoughts on America.
All right.
And this book, basically, like I said, he was locked up for 15 years. So he's seen a lot. He heard a lot. He read a lot. He was in the system. He had a lot of time on his hands.
Mm-hmm.
This book basically describes stuff he's seen, stuff he had to endure, what made him change, and just sit down and decide, okay, I got to get myself together. It's not the system, it's me. And it's like, it's one thing okay, so.
Well, let's back up for a minute. Let's talk about, because he was, from me speaking with you, he was arrested, what I consider to be unfairly. Don't want nobody tell him nothing,
Right.
don't nobody know nothing. So lead us up to the arrest. I mean, exactly
Okay,
what happened.
On March 29th, he went to see
Uh-huh.
his parole officer
He went to see his parole officer
on March the 29th.
March the 29th. Okay.
They had a little, she stated to him that
This is when you say she, you referring to his parole officer?
Heather, go there.
Heather
Okay.
go there.
What's her name?
Heather go there.
Okay.
She stated to him that she could send him back to Illinois because he just think he could do what he want to do. So he was like, I'm following guidelines. I mean, what am I doing? She was like, you just gonna get that GPS back on you. He was like, okay, that's fine, because the GPS was part of his stipulation. That was part of one of his guidelines.
Mm-hmm.
So she told him to come back to have the GPS put on. When he went back, she told him it wasn't ready or it was a malfunction and he had to come back. So he went back April the 5th. When he went in, she put him in handcuffs and arrested him. And he asked, she was not following the guidelines. He asked her what guidelines did he not follow, and she didn't tell him. Only thing she could say is, you know what you did. So she eventually called me probably 2 hours or so later to inform me that he was incarcerated in jail for not following the guidelines. And as a mother, I asked her what guidelines he didn't follow. And she said, I can't talk to you about that, but he know what he did.
Mhm.
So the next day he went to court. They said he was going to court in Osceola.
Yeah.
So I went to Osceola and I stood there for maybe like 5-10 minutes. Nobody never came. So I talked to the lady and she was like, we don't have them in our system. She was like, let me call Luxora. So she called Luxora. She was like, he going to video court in Blyville. I said, okay. So now I'm trying to figure out why he going to video court in Blyville and he live in Osceola.
All right.
But come to find out, him and his fiance had found a house, and they had moved because he got to get approved to move. Which she approved the house to move, so now they got their key. So the day that she arrested him, he told her the address that he was going to move to, but she put down that he live in Blyville and he don't. Have not stayed in Blyville since she been his parole officer.
And this is important for us, giving that information to your parole officer in terms, your place for residence.
And so he went in front of the judge, which was Shannon Langston.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I was present for the court.
And Shannon Langston was confused because
Yeah.
all the paper said was didn't follow guidelines. Not
Yeah.
what guidelines, how many guidelines.
Yeah.
So she was like, I really want to help you, but Illinois got a hold on you.
Yeah. What Shannon Langston asked in court, we asked her why was he violated. Shannon Langston.
Okay, you want to
said,
introduce yourself, ma'am?
I'm Star Yankaway. I'm his sister.
Sister, okay.
So his fiance and I, we went to court. Shannon Langston, we asked her why was he violated, because we knew that he had not done anything. Shannon Langston explained to us that she had no idea why he was being held. She said she had no idea why he was being violated. She said he had no new charges. He had not gotten into any trouble. So then she asked, have we talked to the parole officer? So we let Shannon Langston know that the parole officer said she could not give us any information. Then Shannon Langston said that was not true. She said the parole officer knew exactly why, he was
I
violated.
agree. I
And
agree.
she said she did not understand why she wouldn't tell us. And so then she went on to tell us that there was an extradition hold on him for Illinois. So again, Shannon Langston said that she was confused.
So let me stop you there. He transferred from Illinois parole to Arkansas.
within
Yeah.
2 weeks.
And
after
that
his
was
release.
approved, right?
It was approved.
Yeah.
So if it was approved, if there was anything that was going on with Mr. Yankaway in terms of, any violations, old fines that they need to pay, he would not have been cleared
That's
for
right.
the approval.
Right.
That's right.
So it just don't make no sense now that he's in Arkansas, and now we got his parole officers is saying Illinois has got a hold on him.
Right.
Well, heck, why did they even approve it?
Exactly. So Shannon Langston said, so she basically said, so he lived in Arkansas, and we're like, yes, he's been in Arkansas 2 weeks after his release. So she said, well, if he lives in Arkansas and his parole officer is in Arkansas, which his parole officer did not show up for the court, she said, well, if he lives in Arkansas and his parole officer is in Arkansas, how and why is Illinois violating him?
Don't make no sense.
And that's what we told her. We said we have no idea. No one is telling us anything. So Shannon Langston showed us the paper. She said there's nothing on this paper but he's been violated. She said, but nothing more. She said, so I would suggest that you all reach out to the parole officer. And we told her, we said she will not tell us anything. And she said something just did not seem right. It made absolutely no sense.
So we got a man that sitting in jail and won't nobody tell him what for. Only thing is Illinois have a hold on him for, I guess, some violation. But here's the deal. He's in Arkansas and they are the reporting agent, his parole officer. So if he done did anything or have done anything to you know, be a violation of his parole, then the reporting agent, which is what's her name, Heather
Heather Godare.
Goner,
Oh,
she would have to have some communication with Illinois about him violating the conditions of his parole.
That's right.
correct.
Just don't make no sense.
And then something that also
Can you
threw
speak
us-
up a little bit or move closer to you mic?
Okay. And
All right.
and something else that threw us off is Shannon Langston said that the paperwork said that he was violated March 30th. And if he was violated March 30th, he should have been arrested March 30th. But he was arrested when he went in
April the 5th.
to April 5th to see his parole officer.
And this was April 5th.
Yes,
Yep,
but
and it was
but
communication between Heather Godare, between him and Heather Godare, between March the 20th to 30th and April the 5th. They had communicated.
they had communicated. He had just texted Heather Godare and asked her, was it okay for him to move into his new house? She texted him back and said yes, and then arrested him.
And said he lived there, and he
And
don't.
said he lived there, but he had not moved in. He has not stayed one night at the new house because she arrested him after he texted and asked for permission to move, and she said yes.
She gave the permission, and although he still had not moved into the new address, she still arrested him.
Yes, and yes, and we have no idea why he's
It's
sitting
like
in the
since
county.
this, and it's like since this happened, I done went through a lot of his paperwork from the time he arrived in Arkansas until that day, and it's like it's so many gaps from the stuff like, okay, his guidelines, Illinois guidelines, he's supposed to have a GPS monitor, and his curfew is 6 o'clock. That was his
All right.
guidelines. Even though he was in Arkansas, he still was supposed to follow the Illinois guidelines. But Heather Godare
Never told.
remove the GPS off in 90 days with no curfew. But before she even removed the GPS off, she already had changed his curfew from 6 o'clock to 11 o'clock.
Mhm.
So we don't know if that's playing a part, and it's like he not doing what Illinois wants to do, but he doing what she telling him to do. And so I looked, she gave him some guidelines to sign. She gave those guideline papers to him on March the 15th. But you've been his parole officer since October the 14th.
Mhm. Well, I would think that whenever there is a transfer, he would be up under the guidelines condition of Arkansas. I mean, I may be wrong. I mean, but that just don't make no sense if he's doing something wrong, and Arkansas is the one that's supposed to be his what do you call it? Supervising his parole. If anything that he do wrong again, it would have to be that reporting agent, Arkansas, who's communicating with Illinois. So now the
Correct.
question is, what is it that his parole officer, in terms of communication with Illinois, what have she told them? What have she said for them to even put a warrant out for his arrest?
And we've been trying to contact the man, but we have not. I mean, I don't know if he
When you
getting the
say the
message.
man, you're talking about the
His name is
His name is Joey Janey.
Joey
that's the
James, parole
that's the one
Joey.
from
officer,
Arkansas. I mean, that's the one from
Illinois.
Illinois.
That's
Yes,
the one
he's
from Illinois that signed the warrant.
that
Joey
signed the
James.
warrant.
He
And I've
signed the
left
warrant.
and I've left several messages for him to contact us because, like I said, it's the unknown that's bothering us the most because no one knows why he's sitting in the county jail. No one knows why he was violated. And, Shannon Langston said, if anyone, if no one is telling you anything, Joey Janey should be able to tell you everything because that's who name is on the warrant.
And that's his
But
former probation officer from Illinois, correct?
yes,
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
and I've left several messages. The first time I called, they said they didn't know who Joey G was. I called back. I got a lady. She said that she would send an email over for them to contact me back. No one has contacted back. Heather Godere will not talk to anyone. So it like I said, right now it's the unknown that is bothering us.
Right. And even like my son has to see a counselor. And the purpose of the counselor is to get him back to society. He been gone for 15 years, but this counselor has been calling Heather Godere since Wednesday. And I talked to the counselor today and still no answer.
Yeah, she will not. Heather Godere will not answer the phone.
So there is no communication. Um, well, have either of you tried to get some type of message to your son, brother? If he signs some type of uh, make some kind of statement, giving permission for either of you to talk to his parole officer as it relates to him, uh, then I would think that the parole officer will have to uh, go ahead and abide by his wishes. So that would be the first thing that I would do, to have your son to write out some type of statement, him addressing the letter or whatever to his parole officer, uh, giving you all the right to communicate with his parole officer as it relates to whatever movement in his case or whatever. Um, but that was a very good detail. Uh, you know, for us bringing us to some understanding. I mean, it seemed like the sister and as well as you, Mrs. Gregory, y'all are really uh, tuned in to what is going on with your son's case. You really explained it uh, real well, and hopefully, we can. When I say we, because I've made some calls as well. I did speak with Miss uh, Heather Godare, um, but it really wasn't what you can call any information that she gave me, no more than what she gave you all. In fact, she referred me to uh, somebody, I guess, supposed to be over the head of the probation parole during I think Little Rock, uh, Dino Tyler or somebody. And but I did call that number, and of course it went to voicemail. Uh, so talk to us. Uh, how can the public help, if any? I mean, I know you're coming on. You want this story to get out. I mean,
Yeah, I mean, I done talked to a couple of guys, and I feel like as a mother, my mother's intuition tells me that Heather Godere has did this to other people. My
Yeah.
son is not the first one.
Oh, you think
She
this is a
only,
pattern?
I think this is a pattern, and she only got away with it. And you know, as black people, women, men, or whatever, sometimes we don't understand the system, and we just let it go. But my son did 15 years in prison, and 15 years ago, I didn't understand the system. I had a lot of questions I couldn't understand why my baby had to do so many years and he was a baby. But I refused to let him go back because he worked too hard. He only been home for 6 months. 6 months, you can't tell me this man wrote a book. He got a
Yes.
full-time job and
Yes.
he got a clothing line.
And that's what I want you to talk about.
Yes.
I know you shared something about his book, but your son was gainfully employed at one of the mills, right?
He worked at Radnor Steel. When he came in, I mean, he didn't waste no time. He went through the temp service. He started from the bottom. He went through the temp service. He worked. He made it. He got hired in through the door. Got his insurance, everything together. He was happy because he was on to it. Then he got his house. He wrote this book. He got his clothing line. I mean, everything was good for him. He was
So this
excited.
is a young man that did 15 years. He gets out of jail and he completely turned his life around, working, gainfully employed, buying a house, wrote a book. I think you indicated that he doing all those other things in terms of going to counseling, just to stay in compliance with
Yeah.
the conditions of his parole. And so in terms of if there is ever a person to serve as a role model for others that's coming behind him, well, if those others is looking at him, all the improvement that he has made in his life, turned his life around, and instead of them rewarding him for redemption, here we are, they wants to put him right back in the system without
Correct.
even telling him what
Why?
was his violations. Only thing is Illinois got a hold on him, got a warrant out for his arrest.
Yeah.
Correct.
And this week we're just waiting because one thing Shannon Langston did tell me in court is that she said she would not house him no more than 10 days. She said if Illinois wants him, they have 10 days. She said after that, I am not going to house this young man and I don't know what I'm housing him for.
Why did he even go before Shannon Langston? It seemed like he should have went before the
Because
circuit
she
court.
said he lived in Blyville.
Because Heather
No, I'm talking about
Godare,
for the court system. I mean, I would
Oh,
think something like that, that's a felony, what I'm trying to say.
yeah.
Felony parole is what he's on. I thought perhaps maybe they would go before the circuit court.
And
I'm not
yeah.
understanding how did he end up in a municipal court before Shannon Langston. I'm not understanding
It's
it.
like no one knows anything. Like he's just sitting there and no one, the two people that know everything, which is Joey Janey and Heather Godare, is
Mhm.
not telling anyone anything. And like I said, it's the
and Joey
unknown.
Janey is really the missing piece
Yes.
because he signed the warrant. So you gotta have a reason
But he
why
signed that
he's
warrant based on information that Arkansas gave, though, right?
Exactly.
correct.
And that's why it's so important for us to speak with Joey Janey because at this point we're trying to figure out what is Heather Godare saying to you that he
That he felt
he got
comfortable signing that
violated.
warrant.
Exactly, because he hasn't done anything and it's hard because I speak to my brother every day and he said he's traumatized. He said he's weak because he's been locked away for 15 years. And this book that he has now, that's not his first book. He wrote a book while in prison, on top of gaining so many certificates while in prison. He turned himself around in prison. So when he was released, he walked that line to never go back.
Mhm.
And to go in to see your parole officer and get arrested and have no idea what you're being arrested for, it's bothering him mentally.
It's real frustrating.
It is. You know, I spoke with him this morning, and he's not who he is. He's somewhere else, because he said being locked away again is traumatizing. He did not want to go back that way.
It just completely ruined this man's life after
It,
him, turning his life around,
yes.
working, all those things that the condition of his parole calls for, gainfully employed, must have family, complying with the conditions of his parole, doing all those things.
Mm-hmm.
But let me ask you this, sir. You mentioned something about his books that he have written. As I read uh, just a snapshots of the one that you sent me, Mom, and it seemed like some of his writing may be somewhat controversial as well, because he's writing on issues as it relates to the criminal justice system, as well
Correct.
as a lot of that writing also is compare and contrast when it comes to race.
Correct.
And so I'm hoping that his writing, because there's so many things that probation officers and parole officers, because they're looking at everything you do. Okay.
Hmm.
And so I'm wondering, has that factor into
Because
uh
it seemed like he started having more problems with her after he wrote the book, after the
after he
book was
wrote the book?
published. After the book was published, because he told her he wrote the book and he was saying he was going to give her a copy. But
Mhm.
he looking at her to say, I'm proud of you. He looking at her to look at the book
He
as
want a good
racist.
rapport with his
Right. Because
parole officer.
she probably looking at it as racist, but he's not racist.
Mhm.
He just know what he know, and he know what he saw, and he know what he experienced.
Yeah. He's telling what he experienced and what he is perceiving through his eyes.
With his eyes. With his eyes, yes.
Okay.
And the stuff he did, that helped him survive 15 years of prison.
Well, we're gonna stay on top of this this issue. I think you gave me between the three of us and whoever else, we're gonna have to keep calling until we get some answers. I mean, because this young man should not be sitting in jail and nobody's telling him nothing. And even if Illinois decide to uh not even come and extradite him back to Illinois, the damage is done.
Right. You still ruined him
They don't ruin
already.
this man. This man was gainfully employed, getting ready to buy a home, uh, making the best of his time, using his mind, writing books. You know, uh, I mean, they kicked this man. They kicked him back down. Instead of them reaching down and give him a hand and pull him up, and like I say, rewarding him for redeeming himself, they punishing him.
Yep.
It's almost like you're being convicted, and excuse me, you're being arrested. Well, it's the same case here. You're being arrested and won't nobody tell you why.
Right.
He's sitting in jail right now. He's been in jail, what, right at about a week now?
Since
Approaching a week.
almost.
And nobody have said anything, told him nothing.
No. No.
Well, I tell
And
you,
and
Mom,
and I feel like she is having a "I told you so" moment, because she
when you
threatened
say
him.
she, you mean
Heather Godare.
that's his
Because
parole officer.
yes, because she has threatened him so many times, just making the statement, I could send you back to Illinois. I can
Mhm.
put you back in jail. Like, I feel like as a parole officer, your job is to help this man transition into the real world.
Thank you.
But instead, you're holding what the power that you think you have over his head. Like, if I don't want you to walk free, I have the power to take that freedom away from you.
Mhm.
And my brother is so strong-willed, and I think she felt that. And I and
But
she
you would agree that everyone has this breaking point, though.
they do. And I feel like she used, like I said, what power she thinks she has, and put him back in jail just to show him, I told you I can do this.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So
I
she on
feel
the
like
power
she threw the rock and now
power
she
trip.
hiding her hand. That's what I feel like. She threw the rock, now she hiding her hand.
Yeah, I feel like it was almost time for his 6 month
Review.
review. And I feel like she had not been following whichever guidelines Illinois had for her to follow. She was kind of doing her own thing. And then as time got closer for his review, that's when now she want to know, where are you moving? What's the address?
Where you work at?
Where you work at?
Have you
Things
been
she should
going
have
to
asked.
counseling? But
Things she
you
should
should
have
have
asked
been
5
asking these
months
questions.
ago.
Mhm.
Things she should have asked 5 months ago.
She don't do
You know?
home visits. So she never
Yeah,
did a home.
like she
She
wasn't
did one
following
home
her
visit.
guidelines.
Well, I
So
tell you, uh, this is a lot of information that that you all have shared. Um, we had some attorneys on right before you. And we was talking. I know this is not a speedy trial thing, but uh, he do have a right to a hearing, and I mean, he should have already had a hearing in terms of why he was even violated.
He's only had the extradition hearing, and no one knew anything. No one. That's the only. He only had the extradition hearing, and like I said, it was
You
five
say
of
he
us.
had a hearing? Oh, I mean, to my understanding, he didn't have a hearing.
The day he went to court, that was an extradition hearing.
I thought that was just probable cause.
No, she told me. Shannon Langston told me this. She said this was his extradition hearing. She told me, she told my brother, she was like, if there was something I could do, I would definitely do it because I don't understand why you're here. She said, but Illinois has the hold on you.
He was
And that's
arrested Wednesday, right?
right.
How long was it after that he went to court?
the next
The
day.
next day.
No, I mean that don't sound right. I
The
mean,
very next day.
how was he to prepare for his hearing? I mean, he gonna have to
They
have the
won't
opportunity.
because Heather Go there wasn't even there.
Heather Godare did not show up at court.
Well, that's what I'm saying, you all. First of all, I still have to question what was he even doing in Shannon Langston Court. I think that was the wrong jurisdiction. I mean, just me. I might be wrong. I thought that he should have been going to circuit court due to the fact these are felony charges that we're talking about. Uh, I mean, something just ain't clicking.
Correct.
But I will say this here. I know the time has been well spent. I will say this here. Whatever uh, things that I can do to assist y'all if it's nothing but just continue to get the word out. Like I say, we had attorneys on. I'm pretty sure. I don't know if they are listening right now or looking on. But I would seriously recommend that you all speak with an attorney as soon as possible. I
We
wouldn't wait for
have.
this 10 days.
Yeah, we have, and we have been speaking with an attorney, and we are hoping for some better news tomorrow. We know,
Tomorrow,
it's been a
yeah.
holiday, it's been the
Uh-huh.
weekend. I just feel like I said, the sooner the better, because I feel like each passing day that he's there, he's losing faith,
Mhm.
and he's been through enough, and he does not deserve to be there. He does not.
Well, let's keep in touch. I see my board. I'm gonna take a break and I'm gonna go over here to my board and see if anyone have any questions for you all before you don't really have to answer, but I just wanna uh have them since they coming on. Uh if you choose to do so. If you think it's a legal matter, you might not want to speak about it. But if it's just something, just general statement, you can respond. But this is a lot of them just saying hello. This is Mrs. Anderson just saying good evening. Uh, as prophetess Sharon Favor Randolph just speaking. This is Miss Anderson again. Do this apply on federal cases also? I don't know if she's referring to you all. I'm thinking she's talking about the probation. And Mrs. Anderson, yes, they both also uh, have had cases in the federal courts, and so they do handle federal cases as well. Mrs. Anderson, uh, we got Cuz here. She is unfair. She is an unfair lady. So I'm taking it that Cuz know this woman as well. She's an unfair lady. She tries to what is that?
She just tried to do
Do
my
my
son.
son the same way. Yes.
Oh, okay. Try to do the son the same way. Okay. And so he must got her as a probation officer
Well,
as
I
well.
talked to her son earlier, and
Mhm.
he had to go to Little Rock to have his probation officer changed from her.
Okay.
He had to reach out to Little
Oh, is
Rock.
that right? I
Yeah.
like you all may have to do the same thing.
Mhm.
They say this don't make no sense. That's Vic. Uh, she will not answer the phone. I'm pretty sure they done went through that as well.
She will
Yeah.
not.
She is a low down probation officer. I can only imagine who else she has done like this. Uh, so I'm pretty sure got some people that know about this woman. I mean, I probably done talked to her probably twice. I really don't even know her. She tried to put me in jail. Who was that?
That's Tequila son.
Okay, try to put him in jail.
Mhm.
This is so terrible. It's Sister Anderson again. That's why she's mad. Uh, but a lot of people talk about her, and
Yes.
so I guess
I'm,
everybody know this woman, don't they?
I've never heard
Which
anything
is
good
true.
about this lady.
Okay, we're getting down to the bottom. Last two. Um, Heather will threaten you. Everything y'all saying, she say,
She
uh,
said to my
she said
son,
this to my son. Heather is low down. Heather even cussed at my son
Yeah.
and some more. Uh, wow. Uh, they covering something up. Heather is a mess. This hell, boy, everybody know this Heather. This
Yeah.
last
They need
comment
to
here,
do it.
y'all.
Yeah.
I think the reason she is like this because she don't like men. Well, I ain't gonna go there. I ain't gonna go there. I'll leave that alone. but but anyway, I want to say this here. I thank you all for coming on. Uh, let's stay in touch, and if you need to use this platform to get information out, uh, please don't hesitate to call me. And so, I guess I'm gonna go ahead and give each one of you 3 minutes to go ahead and close this thing out. Mrs. We'll let Mom go last. So Mrs. Bailey,
Star.
I'm glad you put away that dummy deal there. I like looking at folks. I like to know who I'm looking at. Uh, we got one other comment over here before I let you go. When people take
that's
a little time to write a long comment like that, I think the least I can do is try to read it. Uh, but actually, it's two. Uh, it's it seems that Heather needs to be reported to the state officials, and that's something that you might out. That's one reason why I asked for the number of her supervisor, and I'm going to be probably trying to make some calls this coming week because if we get people like that are not there to help, but more so to hurt the person, then that's not helping. Her job is to try to create some type of, you got to have a good rapport. And then there's nobody to say she got to go out to dinner with him. I mean, that's against the rules anyway, I believe. But at least reward him for,
right.
for doing good.
Yeah.
But anyway, this is Miss Geraldine Grimes. Uh,
That's my
I
mom.
I am Jada grandmother. Who is Jada?
JT.
My son.
That's our
Oh,
grandma.
okay. I am Jada grandmother. I've I've been talking to Jada every day since he's been out of prison, and he has done so well. He always informed me of everything that he's doing. I just can't understand what happened because he had
No.
violated
I think she meant to put not.
Yeah, he had not violated any probation as far as I know. So I'm praying that this is some kind of mistake because, and I think she pretty much
Yeah.
ended right there. But we pretty much got her message, what she's saying. Uh, she can't use her authority to break the law and bully her clients. That's what it seemed
And
like to
that's
me.
exactly what she's doing.
Intimidation
They do.
of authority.
That
I mean, you can't abuse your authority like that. If this
no.
is going on, uh, to all the listeners that is listening now, if you have encountered any type of unprofessionalism, let's just say that, then you might want to make a complaint. Like I say, everyone has a boss. They answer to somebody, and so to all of those listeners, you might want to make a complaint. I think I've heard enough tonight to know uh, that others have had some experience with this probation officer as well.
Hmm.
And so please do that. I got one other comment exactly. And so again, now go ahead and extend the floor. You first, Miss Bailey. Go ahead and share with us, the audience. You pretty much already done told us what have you done. So where do you go from here, and how can the public help?
Right now, like I said, the biggest thing is, trying to speak with Joey Janey. This week, we're trying to get him released.
Uh-huh.
If anyone knows anyone, I'm open to anything. Just point me in a direction, and I'm just trying to help get my brother released. If anyone knows anything about Heather Godere or who I should report her to or anything, just I feel like anything can help at this point. I feel like the parole board need to do a deep dive on Heather Godere. I don't feel like she's 100% genuine in her position. I do feel like Heather Godere is a bully and she uses that to threaten people. And I
Mhm.
do believe in my heart that she's done this to people before and it went unknown or, no one cared. But Jada has a family that cares. And we're not gonna lay down and let this happen. I refuse because, like I said, he went in prison as a boy and he
Mhm.
came out a man. And I feel like Heather Godere should have been helping him transition into into his
Yeah,
new life. But
I agree.
instead, she throwing him back in the cage.
Mhm. I agree. I agree. I mean that should that should be which I think it is. That should be part of her duties, is to help him transition, uh, back into society, where he's given to society now. you know, as opposed to like some yet taken from society. He's given. He's like I say, all those things he did earlier. He's gainfully employed. He's a taxpayer. Okay, and so again, we should reward people for redeeming themselves.
That's
Okay,
right.
Mom, you want to go ahead and give your spin on it?
Okay, well, hmm. I'm not gonna stop y'all. When my feet hit the floor in the morning,
Mhm.
I'm calling Miss Gonzalez. That's Heather Godere's supervisor. I'm calling. We got Peoria family. I know y'all watching somewhere. Y'all, we need to find Joey
Joey
Janey.
Janey.
He's
Joey
the one
Janey.
that signed
I
the
wrote that.
warrant.
Yeah, I wrote his name down as well.
He's at the Peoria Parole Office. If y'all know anything, have him contact me. My phone number 870-549-2581. He can contact me anytime. My phone gonna always be on me until my baby is out of there. Y'all can
Mhm.
contact me. I work, I do,
And
but
this is your number right here, correct?
no, that's not my 549
Okay, let me.
870.
That was the attorney's numbers that I had on.
Mm,
So let me go ahead and put your number down. Give it to me again.
870-549-2581.
2581.
2581. If y'all have any information, please share it. If you know somebody going through this, I mean, they could contact me. We could all get together because,
That is mom's number, you all. If you
yes, I mean,
have any information that you might can help her, that is her number, 870-549-2581. Again, you have any information, whether it's by word, whether however you can help, making phone calls, whatever, please do. Um, um, Give mom a call. Okay. And I think,
please.
sis, I say sis, I mean the sis of Mr. JT Yankaway. Do you have a number? Is that number good enough or do you have one?
Yeah, my telephone number is 870
870
281
281
5802.
5802.
And you can call anytime. I will always have my phone.
Okay, and that is the sister's telephone number. Please, if you can help any way, give her a call. As they stated, there have been other people who might have had uh, somewhat uh, problems, if you will, with this parole officer. So please talk to each other, and compare each other's story. If it's similar, you all might want to go and speak with an attorney. If not, and at the same time, file a complaint because this young man should not be sitting in jail if he had not did anything to that can be considered a violation of his parole. So look like that concludes the show, ladies. I really appreciate you all being patient, waiting on me to bring you on. And as I indicated, if there's anything that I can do for as this platform or whatever, you have my contact number. Please do reach out.
Thank you.
Thank
And we
you.
thank you for
Thank
listening
you.
to our story.
Okay,
Thank
and I
you.
will be in touch. Okay.
Thank you. Good
Thank
night.
you.
Okay. Good
Good
night.
night.
Bye bye. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that concludes my show. This is my first show for this particular season. Um, I do hope to bring my show back on Sundays. I had changed to Tuesdays. I will be staying on Sundays. Sundays at 6 o'clock is when you can catch me. Okay. And I want to say, don't forget to register by the 11th, I believe, for the ANC. I should have had that flyer. ANC, what I call a fun exercise walk. I'm going to participate. And so please get that information, sign yourself up, come out and participate. Um, I wanted to have balls and strikes before I close out this show. Um, I had one for the Blythe School District balls and strikes, and I had another one for the Blythe Police Department balls and strikes, and I had another one for the city officials balls and strikes. And so hopefully we'll get to that my next show. But again, I want you all to be blessed and enjoy the rest of your evening. And I will be coming back to you same time next week. Tony Hollis Live Talk Show Testify, 6 o'clock p.m. And I want to say, may God bless you and may God keep you. And let's continue to enjoy this beautiful day that we remember to be happy resurrection. Amen. Give God all the praise. He died for you and I. God bless, peace and love, and goodbye.